Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, September 7th, 2023. Today we will do baseball, WNBA, FIBA, soccer, college football, NFL. Week 1 begins tonight. Let's go. We have tennis, NFL top 100 players, the NFL power rankings, news and notes, and best bets. So a loaded NFL day. We'll start with baseball, though. We'll go over everything from yesterday and look ahead to the games being played today, which is, I think, less because of travel. Pirates over the Brewers 5-4, Guardians over the Twins 2-1, Cubs over the Giants 8-2, A's over the Jays 5-2, D-backs over the Rockies 12-5, so best bet wins, and the Diamondbacks did it by themselves. Phillies over the Padres 5-1, Rays over the Red Sox 3-1, Marlins over the Dodgers 11-4, so the Dodgers lose 2 games in Miami. Mariners over the Reds 8-4. Yankees over the Tigers 4-3. They're back over 500. Nats over the Mets 3-2. Cards over the Braves 11-6. White Sox over the Royals 6-4. Astros over the Rangers 12-3. The Rangers have really fallen apart. And the O's over the Angels 10-3. All right, there's only 6 games today. All-night games. 6:30 Dodgers Marlins. Ryan Papuai and Braxton Garrett. I'll pull this up right now. So Dodgers minus 124, Marlins plus 106, over under 8.5, overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Dodgers minus 1.5 is plus 136, Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 184. I like the under full game. Mariners Rays. Luis Castillo and Zach Little. Mariners minus 124, Reds plus 106, over under 8, overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Mariners minus 1.5 is plus 132, Rays plus 1.5 is minus 160. The Rays have lost a couple games recently. I'm, for this one, going to go with the under, but I don't feel good about it. 7 o'clock, you have the Tigers at the Yankees. Yankees going for the sweep. Eduardo Rodriguez and Carlos Rodon. Are the Tigers favored here? No. The Yanks are minus 174. The Tigers are plus 146, over under 8.5. Overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 140. Yanks minus 1.5 is plus 116. I'm going with the Tigers plus 146. I don't see New York going on a 6-game winning streak. That's just weird at this point of the year when they're playing Ks. So I'm going to take a chance with the Tigers for my upset pick tonight. Cards, Braves, Adam Wainwright, Max Fried. Braves minus 330, Cards plus 265, over under 10, overs minus 122, unders even money. Cards plus 1.5 is plus 130, Braves minus 1.5 is minus 156. I'm going full game under, don't feel good about it. It's a Max Fried bet. 7:30 D-backs, Cubs, Ryan Nelson, and Javier Assad. So the Cubs are double-digit over 500. Whew! They're minus 190. The D-backs are plus 152, over under 8.5. Overs minus 106, unders minus 114. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 40. Cubs minus 1.5 is plus 116. I'm going with the over. The Diamondbacks have been scoring a lot of runs lately, as have the Cubs. And at 9:30, the Guardians at the Angels. Cal Quantrill and TBD. We don't know yet. But if the Angels are favored, I'll take the Guardians and go with 2 upsets for tonight. Now we'll move on to the WNBA. We have games to go over for today, and then last night we only had 1 game. So, last night the Dream over the Storm 79-68 as Atlanta clinched a playoff spot, and the Sparks in the Sky are left with the last spot. We'll see who gets it. Alicia Gray at 18 to lead the way, and Jewel Lloyd, 26 for Seattle. 1 game tonight, 7 o'clock on Prime. Sparks Liberty from Barclays Center. Are the Liberty playing for the 1 seed? They're 1 back of the 1 seed, so the 1 seed's not inconceivable. If the Liberty didn't get off to that slow start, they would have been the 1 seed. I think they're the best team right now, hands down. They're giving 12.5 totals, 159.5. I like the over. Liberty games and overs both well together. And the Liberty are also playing for the 1 seed, so I like the over 159.5 between the Sparks and the Liberty. All right, now move on to FIBA. We have results to go over, and we have tomorrow morning's games. And then we have games going on right now, too. So yesterday, quarterfinals, Germany over Latvia, 81-79, and Canada over Slovenia, 189. So Luka Doncic is out. And then 5th through 8th. 5th through 8th classification game, Latvia over Italy, 87-82. And then we have another classification game going on between Slovenia and Lithuania. Lithuania with a 40-30 lead right now. All right, 2 games tomorrow. Semifinals, 4:30 a.m. on ESPN Plus. Canada-Serbia should be a really good game. I bet you Canada's favored by double digits. No, they're not. It's 5.5 totals, 176.5. Whoo, if I'm laying it with Canada, that's low. And then 8:30 ESPN2, Germany against the U.S. Germany's undefeated, but Franz Wagner got hurt in that game. U.S. is giving 10.5 totals, 178.5. I'm going to lay the points. No, Wagner's a loss for Germany. I think U.S. led by Anthony Edwards will continue to do its thing. So I'm going to lay the points with the United States. I know it's probably a homer pick in doing so, but I do really like this United States team. All right, now we'll move on to soccer. We have some results to talk about and look ahead to a little bit today. The Women's Soccer League Cup, Kansas City loses to North Carolina 1-0 in the semifinal, and then Louisville defeats the Reign 1-0 in this other semifinal. The title game's either tomorrow or Saturday. We have friendlies. Syria and Malaysia 2-2 draw. Bhutan over Maku 1-0. Malta over Gibraltar 1-0. Bulgaria and Uzbekistan got canceled. So far today, Iraq, India 2-2 draw, but Iraq wins 5-4 in penalties. And Bangladesh and Afghanistan 1-1 draw. All right, going on right now, Cambodia and Hong Kong, and then 9:30 of Thailand and Lebanon, 11:15 Qatar, Kenya, 12 o'clock. Bulgaria, Iran, 1 o'clock Norway, Jordan, 2:30 Austria, Moldova, and 2:45 Wales, South Korea. Tomorrow morning, 6:30 of Myanmar and Nepal, Taipei and the Philippines at 7 and 7:30 Singapore and Tajikistan. And then last night we had USL. So we'll go over those results. Only a couple games, or no, one game. Memphis over Tampa 3-2. And I'm quickly going to check. Oh, everybody's on hiatus. So that makes some sense. Because there's other things going on right now in soccer. So the other soccer's on hiatus. We have a small amount of MLS over the weekend. And then decision day looks like it is October 7th or the 14th. Wow, decision day is not until October 21st. That's a long time. Wow, decision day is not for another month and a half in the MLS. So I think because of football, I think it's a blessing in disguise that soccer is not busy this weekend. All right, we have a college football game tonight. It's against a team we saw on TV last weekend against an FCS team, and I'm referring to Louisville hosting Murray State. 7:30 tonight on the ACC network. I have Louisville by 34.5, total 55 and 4/5. I don't know if it's posted yet because it's it is. That's good. So it's 42.5 and the total is 54.5. I'm going to take Murray getting the point. That is way too high of a number. Louisville's a good team, but I just, maybe they win by 40. Maybe it's a 50-10 final. And if that's the case, Louisville will be happy. So I'm banking on like a 40-0, 45-10. That works. 50-10 works. 47-13 works. Something in that realm. So I'm going to take Murray State getting the 42 just to cover. And then tomorrow we'll do a lot more college football. All right, NFL. Week 1. The moment you guys have been waiting for. Lions. Chiefs. From Arrowhead. The Chiefs are getting their rings. Travis Kelce may not play, as his status as of right now is a true game day decision. The website I follow for injuries says doubtful. So I have my projection for the scenario he's not there. Chris Jones is not playing. He's out. Meanwhile, in Detroit, no Jameson Williams because of suspension. C.J. Gardner-Johnson out. So the Lions have 2 big losses that they're dealing with as well. But these Chiefs players are very important. And the Chiefs need them later in the year. But they might get away with it tonight. You never know. But, we'll see. All right. So the Chiefs are only giving 4.5. Total's 52.5. And, wow, the total went down. Because of no Kelce, the total keeps going down. Because that was at 54.5 the other day. It went down 2 points. So the other day it was 6.5 and 54.5. Now it's down to 4.5 and 52.5. All right, I'm scared to do this. I'm really, really scared. I'm laying the 4.5 with the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the field. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I believe that Kelce, in all likelihood, will not play. But the line went down 2 points because Kelce and Chris Jones are each worth 1. The total went down because Kelce's absence affects the total. So the spread moved 2 points towards the Lions, and the total went down 2 points down. So I'm going to lay the points with the Chiefs. I did not expect that to be the pick, but here we are. So I'm going to lay the 4.5 with the Chiefs. I think Isaiah Pacheco, big game because Detroit's run defense stinks. Maybe one of those receivers will break out tonight, like Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore or somebody along those lines. So I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Kansas City. The Lions are overhyped, and I think it's going to be a good game. So I'm really looking forward to it. All right, now move on to tennis. We have results to go over. And we have to look ahead to the matches for today. So, men's yesterday quarterfinals. 1 seed Carlos Alcaraz over 12 seed Alexander Zverev in 3 sets. And 3 seed Daniil Medvedev over 8 seed Andrei Rublev in 3 sets. And then the women's from yesterday, 17 seed Madison Keys over 9 seed Marketa Vondrousova in 2 sets. And 2 seed Aryna Sabalenka over 23 seed Kawin Zhang in 2 sets. All right, semifinals for the ladies today, 7 o'clock. 16 Coco Gauff and 10 Carolina. I'm going to give out a bet. Coco's minus 205, Carolina. Muchova's plus 168. It's going to be a good match, and I think Muchova's got a good shot of pulling off the upset. And I'm going to pick it. Muchova 4-1, 2-1. With the upset over Coco Gauff. And an 8:15 tonight, 17-team Madison Keys and 2-seed Arena Sablenka. I would assume Sablenka's a big favorite. Yes, she's minus 275. Keys is plus 220. I think Sablenka wins. She's better than Madison Keys. Madison Keys has had a nice run, but all nice things come to an end. So I'm going Sablenka 2-1 plus 270 for tonight. All right, now I'm going to do my top 100 NFL player rankings. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but I did not. So without further ado, here we go. We'll start with the honorable mentions, and I'm going to go the honorable mentions in order from the not the least honorable mention, but the last name I'll say will technically would have been 101 on my list. I'll put it that way. All right. Honorable mentions: Tony Pollard, Cowboys; Isaiah Pacheco, Chiefs; Jonathan Taylor, Colts; Ryan Ramczyk, Saints; Caleb McGarry, Falcons; David Andrews, Patriots; Eric Armstead, 49ers; Ronnie Stanley, Ravens; Joe Thuney, Chiefs; Roquan Smith, Ravens; TJ Hawkinson, Vikings; Michael Winu, Patriots; Connor Williams, Dolphins; Denzel Perryman, Texans; Antoine Winfield Jr., Buccaneers; Javon Holland, Dolphins; Micah Hyde, Bills; Jimmy Ward, Texans; Marshawn Lattimore, Saints; Fletcher Cox, Eagles; David Bakhtiari, Packers; Garrett Bowles, Broncos; Pete Werner, Saints; Laramie Tunsil, Texans; Calvin Tomlinson, Browns. 16, so I'm almost there. Kirk Cousins, Vikings; Darren Waller, Giants; Corey Linsley, Chargers; Alex Highsmith, Steelers; Tua Tagovailoa, Dolphins; Denzel Ward, Browns; DJ Reader, Bengals; Shaq Mason, Texans; Jack Conklin, Browns; Mark Andrews, Ravens. Malik Andrews is in media. Oh my goodness. Joe Mixon, Bengals; Wyatt Teller, Browns; Carmen Curl, Commanders; Jonathan Jones, Patriots; Aiden Hutchinson, Lions; and Josh Allen, Jaguars. Those are your honorable mentions. And now, my top 100 players. 100, Jonathan Allen, Commanders. 99, Christian Darrisaw, Vikings. 98, Shaquille Leonard, Colts. 97, Aaron Jones, Packers. 96, Deebo Samuel, 49ers. 95, Saquon Barkley, Giants. 94, Austin Eckler, Chargers. 93, Dalvin Cook, Jets. 92, Rashawn Slater, Chargers. 91, Justin Simmons, Broncos. 90, Frank Ragnow, Lions. 89, Marlon Humphrey, Ravens. 88, Quentin Nelson, Colts. 87, Khalil Mack, Chargers. 86, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Lions. 85, Joel Bitonio, Browns. 84, Michael Pierce, Ravens. 83, Jordan Poyer, Bills. 82, Tremaine Edmonds, Bears. 81, Tre'Davious White, Bills. 80, Tristan Wirfs, Buccaneers. 79, Garrett Wilson, Jets. 78, Jalen Waddle, Dolphins. 77, Tyron Smith, Cowboys. 76, Shaquille Barrett, Buccaneers. 75, Kevin Byard, Titans. 74, CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys. 73, Keenan Allen, Chargers. 72, Josh Jacobs, Raiders. 71, J.C. Jackson, Chargers. 70, Dallas Goedert, Eagles. 69, Jeffrey Simmons, Titans. 68, Montez Sweat, Commanders. 67, Lane Johnson, Eagles. 66, Colton Miller, Raiders. 65, Hassan Reddick, Eagles. 64, Charvarius Ward, 49ers. 63, Quinnen Williams, Jets. 62, Dexter Lawrence, Giants. 61, Christian Wilkins, Dolphins. 60, Cameron Jordan, Saints. 59, Brandon Graham, Eagles. 58, DeMarcus Lawrence, Cowboys. 57, Lamar Jackson, Ravens. 56, Stephon Diggs, Bills. 55, Nick Chubb, Browns. 54, Chris Lindstrom, Falcons. 53, Rashawn Gary, Packers. 52, DeForest Buckner, Colts. 51, Max Crosby, Raiders. 50, Darius Slay, Eagles. 49, Jason Kelsey, Eagles. 48, Danielle Hunter, Vikings. 47, Dak Prescott, Cowboys. 46, Stephon Gilmore, Cowboys. 45, A.J. Brown, Eagles. 44, Devontae Adams, Raiders. 43, Von Miller, Bills. 42, Cooper Kupp, Rams. 41, George Kittle, 49ers. 40, Xavier Howard, Dolphins. 39, Fred Warner, 49ers. 38, Creed Humphrey, Chiefs. 37, Demario Davis, Saints. 36, Jair Alexander, Packers. 35, Marcus Williams, Ravens. 34, Jordan Mailata, Eagles. 33, Andrew Thomas, Giants. 32, Aaron Rodgers, Jets. 31, Dre Greenlaw, 49ers. 30, Kyle Hamilton, Ravens. 29, Cameron Hayward, Steelers. 28, Christian McCaffrey, 49ers. 27, Derrick Henry, Titans. 26, Justin Herbert, Chargers. 25, Lavonte David, Buccaneers. 24, Jalen Ramsey, Dolphins. 23, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Steelers. 22, Trevor Lawrence, Jaguars. 21, Josh Allen, Bills. 20, Myles Garrett, Browns. 19, Derwin James, Chargers. 18, Pat Surtain II, Broncos. 17, Chris Jones, Chiefs. 16, Zach Martin, Cowboys. 15, Joey Bosa, Chargers. 14, Jamar Chase, Bengals. 13, Bobby Wagner, Seahawks. 12, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, Jets. 11, Jalen Hurts, Eagles. 10, Aaron Donald, Rams. 9, Tyreek Hill, Dolphins. 8, Travis Kelce, Chiefs. 7, Micah Parsons, Cowboys. 6, Nick Bosa, 49ers. 5, T.J. Watt, Steelers. 4, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. 3, Trent Williams, San Francisco 49ers. 2, Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings. And number 1, if there wasn't any doubt, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is going to be number 1 on this list for the foreseeable future. And I regret not putting him there since 2020. So, Mahomes is a magician. He'll hopefully prove it again tonight, as I'm going to probably wager on Chiefs minus 4.5. I really think that Mahomes is truly special and one of the great athletes we've had in this league. He's well on his way to Canton. Justin Jefferson's well on his way to Canton, too. He's amazing. Trent Williams, really good lineman on the Niners, the best lineman in the league. Joe Burrow, you could argue for the 2 spot or the 3 spot. But Joe Burrow just gets injured a lot. But when he's healthy, he's amazing. And T.J. Watt, I think, is the best defensive player in the league. He's just a beast. Nick Bosa is a beast, too. And so is Micah Parsons. Travis Kelce, I think, is the second best skilled position player in the league. His former teammate, Tyreek Hill, I think, has transformed the Dolphins. And then Aaron Donald is still a very good player, although I would not be shocked if he's wearing a different team's uniform come December. And even guys in the teens and the 20s, you could argue for top 10. Like Christian McCaffrey was in the top 10 at one point. Josh Allen was in the top 10 last year. Chris Jones, you could argue, should be higher. Zach Martin, the best interior lineman in the league, you could argue should be higher. Jamar Chase, second best receiver in the league, you could argue should be higher. Bobby Wagner, meanwhile, you could argue should be lower because of his age. Sauce Gardner, I probably overrated a little bit because I see him play a lot since he plays for the Jets. Jalen Hurts probably should be a teeny bit higher. Ahead of Donald, probably. He'll be ahead of Donald next year for sure, assuming he stays healthy. But Aaron Donald was a respect move. And then even guys that are at the bottom, like some regrets that I have is probably undervaluing the running backs, but I kind of did that because of how the league feels about the running backs. But you could argue like that Cook, Eckler, Barkley, Samuel even, and Aaron Jones should be higher on the list, especially like Saquon Barkley and Eckler. But it is what it is. So there you have it, the 2023 NFL Top 100 Player Rankings. Now I'm going to do Power Rankings for the season. The theme of this one is going to be the same theme I had prior to week 1 of last year. What each team must do for me to call their season a success. Number 32, the Arizona Cardinals. If Kyler Murray's healthy most of the year, be competitive and win more than 5 games like everyone's projecting you to do. Meaning, or more than people are projecting you to do. But that was a tricky one because we haven't seen a tanking team like this in a while. 31, the Houston Texans. CJ plays well, win over 5 games. 30, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Compete and win over 6 games. Because there's still veterans on that team that care. And if it goes bad, then you trade the veterans. And if Arizona, say if they're 1-8 and Kyler's healthy, then you trade Kyler. So say everybody's healthy and whatnot for Tampa, just competing and win more than 6. I bumped that threshold number up from 5 because, granted, Brady was there last year and there's still talent there. It's similar to Green Bay without Rodgers and even the Rams a little bit this year, except they still have Stafford. 29, the Las Vegas Raiders. Winning record. I think if it's 7-10, they're not going to accept that. They're just not. Josh McDaniels is getting fired if they have a losing record. 28, the Los Angeles Rams. I think the playoffs has to be considered a successful season for the Rams. I'm sorry. They won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And they have a coach that's always motivated. So, to me, making the playoffs would be a successful year for the Rams. 27, the Carolina Panthers. Bryce plays well and they finish with a winning record. I think that Carolina has crazy ownership and they have higher expectations that are unrealistic. So, and plus they're also in a very weak division. And there's still talent there. 26, the Indianapolis Colts. Figure out the Jonathan Taylor situation, and they have to make the postseason for me. It's similar to Carolina, except they have more talent than Carolina. And the other thing, obviously, is, and the most important thing is the development of Anthony Richardson. But that's obviously the most important thing. And then figure out JT. And then if they make the playoffs, it's a successful year. If they don't make the playoffs, it's not. And again, similar to the Panthers, it's because of the division and crazy front office and owner, expectations go higher. 25, the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell plays well, and they produce a winning record. Expectations are lowered for the Commanders because they are in an awesome division with 3 potential playoff teams. So I can't say playoffs are bust for the Commanders. That isn't fair. 24, the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields makes a leap, make the playoffs. So the Bears, to me, a winning record isn't going to cut it. I think they really have to make the postseason. And with Chicago, they're in a big market, and expectations tend to be higher with the Bears. So if they go 9-8 and not make the playoffs, I don't think Chicago sports fans would be happy with that, unless if Fields made like this massive leap, which is the most important thing for the Bears. 23, the Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder improves, and the team has a winning record. I didn't say playoffs for Atlanta. It's similar to Carolina. I just think that being in Atlanta, I don't think they really care about making the playoffs as much as, say, the Bears do, and even the Colts to some degree. But Ritter's got to be better, and to me, they have to have a winning record to justify the decisions they made over the past several years. 22, the Tennessee Titans. To me, they have to make the playoffs. This was a team that would have been a playoff team last year if not for some injuries. And they have a great coach in Mike Vrabel. So, to me, Tennessee, it's a disappointment if they don't make the playoffs. 21, the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love plays well, and they have a winning record. You could argue playoffs for the Packers, too, because of their talent. But because Aaron Rodgers is no longer there, expectations got to be tempered a little bit. So Jordan Love plays well. That's the most important thing. And then the next thing would be they would have to have a winning record. But if they have a winning record, that probably means they're making the playoffs. Number 20, the New England Patriots. They need Mac Jones to improve, and they need to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's the New England Patriots. It's like the Bears, but except expectations are higher in New England than in Chicago because Bill's still there, and they need Mac to be better. 19, the Denver Broncos. To me, the Broncos have to make the postseason, and Russell Wilson has to be either salvaged or the situation has to be salvaged, whether they salvage Russ or they bench him or whatever. But the Russ situation has to be salvaged, and they have to make the postseason. Winning record and no playoffs isn't going to cut it in Denver with Sean Payton. It's just not. Number 18, the Cleveland Browns. Similar to the Broncos. Playoffs and Watson is salvaged. The Browns have a better roster than Denver. I originally had the Browns higher on this list, but then I realized that I had teams that had better records in making the playoffs beneath the team I have projected with the losing record. I have teams not in the playoffs with winning records coming up ahead of teams that I have making the playoffs with winning records. But that's because they play in this superior AFC. So we'll get to that in a second. But to me, the Browns have to make the playoffs for their season to be a success, as well as a rejuvenated Watson, or at least a salvage situation. Number 17, the New York Football Giants. To me, Daniel Jones has to live up to that contract that the Giants gave him, and they at least get back to where you were a year ago in the divisional round. Usually, I say you have to take that next step, but the Giants overachieved last year. There's some exceptions to the rule. So I put it at the division round. I know I listened to last year's podcast when I did this, and I said that Tennessee just had to make the playoffs. To me, the Giants are a big market team, and it's New York, so I think a wild card exit won't cut it. I'd rather be a wild card and make the division round than win the NFC East and lose the first weekend. The former is a better season than the latter in that situation. You want to always go further in the postseason. So division titles don't matter when it comes to the postseason. The Giants proved that themselves in 2007. But yeah, make the divisional round and make sure Daniel Jones lives up to the contract and I believe that at least Dayball will do his best because Dayball's the man. Number 16, the Detroit Lions. To me, they at least got to make the postseason. And on top of that, you could argue a division title too, because they're favored to win the division. But to me, they got to at least make the playoffs for their season to be considered a success. And a division title would be nice. But yeah. Division title is like the number 2 thing, but most importantly, make the postseason. 15, the Minnesota Vikings. For me, it's the divisional round. They were in the wild card last year. I know that's a hard one to place in expectations for, but this is the Minnesota Vikings, and at least win a playoff game. That's a successful season. But if you're the 1 seed somehow and make the division round, then expectations change to the NFC title game. Unless if there's like injuries or if you're like the Titans from a couple years ago. Maybe somebody like Justin Jefferson on the team changes the expectations a little bit, if that were to be the scenario. Although that team had Derrick Henry on it. So you could argue divisional round regardless of how they get there. 14, the Seattle Seahawks, same thing, divisional round. Take the step from where you were a year ago. And the reason why I don't have the Giants making that step is because I have the Giants in like that same tier as the Seahawks, Vikings, and the Lions. Although I have the Giants in the postseason over Detroit. But that's because of Dayball and a little bit of an easier schedule than Detroit. And all the pressures on Detroit, which doesn't help them in any way. So, yeah, Seahawks divisional round, and make sure Geno Smith lives up to that contract, too. If we have to say Daniel Jones must live up to that contract, the same must go for the other quarterback in the NFC that had a big year last year in Geno Smith. 13, the New Orleans Saints. To me, they just have to make the postseason. They weren't in it the last couple of years. Second year without Sean Payton. Derek Carr's there now. But this one could change if the Saints were to be like a 2-seed or a 1-seed, or if they make a big trade for somebody. Number 12, the New York Football Jets. This is the highest actually, no, that's a lie. There's another non-playoff team I have higher. But that's because of how superior the AFC is to the NFC. To me, the Jets have to make the AFC title game. I know people are going to call me nuts. It's funny because on the podcast a year ago, I said if you have Aaron Rodgers on your team, you must make the Super Bowl. But because of where he got traded to, I have to temper the expectations a little bit. And obviously, he's on the Jets. And to me, if the Jets don't make the AFC title game, it's a disappointment. It just is. If the Jets make the AFC title game and lose to Mahomes and the Chiefs, you got to be proud of that if you're the Jets. But then again, you can make a case that AFC title game, depending on who they play. If it's the Chiefs or the Bengals, then it's like, okay, we can live with that. But if it's anybody else, New York's going to look at them as a big failure. And the other thing with the Giants and why I picked them over the Lions is because all the pressure's on the Jets instead of them. Everyone's acting like the Jets were the team that made the playoffs last year and made the divisional round and not the Giants. Oh, that's what happens when you get Aaron Rodgers. Expectations raise. And the Jets better own up to them. 11, the Jacksonville Jaguars. To me, divisional round, it's just like the Giants. Same spot as last year. You're in a loaded conference, and you weren't supposed to be that good last year to begin with. So they're similar to the Giants in that scenario, but the only difference is that Trevor Lawrence is much better than Daniel Jones as a quarterback. Everybody knows that. And so, yeah, if the Jaguars make it back to the divisional round, it's a good season. 10, the Baltimore Ravens. This is the highest non-playoff team I have on here. I have the Ravens winning 10 games, but I don't have them in the postseason. That's how loaded the AFC is. For me, the Ravens have to make the divisional round, except for than where they were a year ago. You could argue the AFC title game for them because if Lamar stays healthy, they win that division, then the Ravens fans are going to say, like, oh, we at least have to make the Final Four. But they're in the loaded AFC, and that they're, in my opinion, the toughest division in football. So, to me, it's a divisional round, although the Jets, I had to bump their expectations up because of the presence of Aaron Rodgers. Number 9, the Buffalo Bills. To me, it's the Super Bowl. The Bills are getting picked to win the Super Bowl this year, as they have been the last several. And this team, I think, potentially their window is closing. But to me, they have to make the Super Bowl for their season to be a success. Number 8, the Miami Dolphins, divisional round. A step further from where they were a year ago. That's all I'm asking. Oh, and of course, Tua healthy most of, if not the whole season as well. Number 7, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just the playoffs. They're in a loaded division. They did not make it last year. If they go 9-8 and miss again, that's not a successful season. I did not listen. Like, the Pickett thing, really is a big deal in Pittsburgh. And last year, I think Pittsburgh Steelers Nation considers it a failure because Pickett didn't play the whole year. And if Pickett did play the whole year, they would have made it. They probably would have made the playoffs last year if Pickett was the starting quarterback the whole year, not Mitch Trubisky. So, yeah, Pittsburgh's got to make the postseason. They have a better team than they did a year ago. 6, the Dallas Cowboys. NFC title game, a step further from where they were a year ago, which was the divisional round. They lost to the Niners. So, the Cowboys, the pressure's on. If they don't make the Final Four, bye-bye Mike McCarthy. 5, the Los Angeles Chargers, AFC title game. It's because of how much talent they have on their roster. But the reason why that they don't go far is because they never win their division because of Mahomes and the Chiefs. But if there's going to be a year to do it, it's this year. If the Chiefs lose tonight and the Chargers stay healthy, why not? But to me, they have to make the AFC title game. And this is similar to the Cowboys in terms of where I feel they must go for their coach to save their job. And similar to the Jets, too, of course. Number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, they have to make the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl last year. They won it in 2020. They lost in 2021. If you have Patrick Mahomes on your roster, it's Super Bowl or bust. Number 3, the Cincinnati Bengals. Super Bowl. Was in it 2 years ago and came close to making it last year. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. Super Bowl. Probably should have won it last year if not for a phantom pass interference call. Who knows, maybe the Chiefs still win it at the end. But the Eagles are very talented, and it'd be disappointing if they're not in the Super Bowl. And number 1, the San Francisco 49ers, who's my pick to win the Super Bowl this year. To me, it's Super Bowl or bust. A step up from where they were a year ago. They were in the NFC title game the last 2 years. And then the COVID year was their down year. And was the whole Trey Lance debacle. And then 2020 playoffs, or the 2019 season playoffs in 2020, they were in the Super Bowl and could have won that Super Bowl too against the Chiefs, but they didn't. But I mentioned this on the podcast a few weeks ago. If the 49ers don't win a championship with this group of players, it's going to be because of the Trey Lance thing. Because they could have stayed there and taken Jalen Waddle. They could have taken one of the good defensive players in the draft. Wasn't Micah Parsons in that draft? If I'm not mistaken, that was the COVID draft. They could have had Micah Parsons. They could have had anybody in that draft. And that's a failure if the 49ers don't win a Super Bowl in this era. And everyone's going to point at that Trey Lance pick and say, yeah, they blew it. Or no, it wasn't that year. It was the year after. So my apologies for, I'm confused. Was Micah Parsons drafted in 2021? I think he was. So they could have had anybody in that draft and said they took Trey frickin' Lance. Yeah, 2021. And then Trey Lance was drafted in 2021 too. So they were drafted in the same year. All right. So now we'll move on. We will do news and notes now. Like I said, this was going to be a big football podcast today, and that's exactly what it's been. So we talked about Kelsey. The test his knee this morning. Will be a true game time decision for tonight. I don't think he's going to play. That's why the Chiefs -4.5 is so valuable right now. Cooper Kupp out week 1. Did a hamstring. Not surprised. Meanwhile, who is playing is Jackson Smith and Jigba. He'll debut week 1 after wrist injury. Joe Burrow, the practice in full, so that's good news for the Bengals after the calf injury. Jahmyr Gibbs eyes 1,500 yards for his rookie season. Wow. Each rookie will wear an NFL Premier patch for their first game, with the I being a 1. So that's pretty cool. Well, the other big NFL story, Nick Bosa, after it was reported that he could miss week 1, they pay him 5 years, $170 million. That is a big deal for the 49ers. Good on them for getting that ready before week 1. And now the pressure's on the Chiefs to get it done with Chris Jones. Brian Burns wants $27 to $28 million a year. But the Panthers' offer is close to $23 million. I predicted him to get traded this season, so maybe that happens. Former NFL wide receiver Mike Williams is on life support in ICU after suffering some serious injuries in a construction accident last week. This is obviously not Mike Williams of the Chargers. This is a Mike Williams that played in the league before the Chargers. Mike Williams came into the league. So he was on the Buccaneers. That's what I thought. He played at Syracuse. Saints 4th-round rookie Jake Haener suspended for violating the NFL's PED policy. That's not good. He was suspended 6 games. Yikes. So LSU Florida State was the top-rated weekend game as had more than 9 million viewers. Deion Sanders' debut was second with 7.2 million. And how about this? Caleb Williams can stay at USC, as Caleb Williams' dad says he could pass on the league if he doesn't like the team with the number 1 pick. Whoo! Maybe, what if he doesn't like Arizona? But what if he wants to pull the Eli Manning card and say, hey, trade me to the Rams? Or trade me to Vegas or something like that? All right. Baseball. Andrew McCutchen out for the year with a partial tear in his left Achilles tendon. That's not great for Pittsburgh. McCutchen was having a nice season, too. Nestor Cortell's likely out for the year because of a shoulder injury. The Yankees should not bring him back. Don't take any chances. You're not making the playoffs anyway, in all likelihood, because all of a sudden they're 6.5 back of the wild card because they've won 5 in a row, and Texas has lost a lot lately. And Yankees swept Houston, so they gained a couple games on them, and then they lost to, then the Rangers lost to the Astros. So, they're gaining games on people. So, you never know. I don't think it's going to happen, but Nestor Cortez likely done for the season. Giancarlo Stanton hits Matt Manning, not intentionally, obviously, Stanton hit a 119.5 mile per hour liner on Matt Manning's foot. So he's out for the year. That stinks for Matt Manning. The Diamondbacks are promoting Jordan Lawler. That's pretty cool. They could use some help. So the Pirates' win yesterday came with help from an umpire as it was a weak strike 3 call. Yikes. I feel bad for that team that lost. The Dodgers placed Julio Urias on leave because of the domestic violence stuff that we talked about the other day. After the following his arrest on felony domestic violence charges. Yikes. Shota Imangana pitched 2 innings in the WC final against Team USA. Projected number 1 overall pick, Ron Holland, made his G League debut, dropped 23 points. James Harden's response to the All-Star Game thing, he says because he was pouting. Yikes. And then the Senators extend one of their key players, Sanderson, 8 years, $64 million. So that's really good for Ottawa to lock up one of their young stars. I think his name is Derek Sanderson. Jake Sanderson. I don't know why I thought it was Derek Sanderson. Oh, I'm thinking of the former quarterback, Derek Anderson. All right, last but not least, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. So, best bet. This is going to be an interesting call. I am going to go with a quarter unit. Let's go. Oof, this is a hard one. I'm going to go with the over 8.5 in D-backs Cubs because both teams have been hot offensively lately, scoring a lot of runs. Lawler's getting called up for Arizona. So I'm going to do a quarter unit on over 8.5, minus 106 between the Cubs and the Diamondbacks for my best bet of the day. All right, so that's it for the show. And I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything coming up over the weekend as well. So tomorrow's a loaded show as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.